Hello and welcome. My name is Justin. Thank you for joining me here at my table today. And today we're going to be continuing our Learn to Play D&D series. We just finished up our character sheet for our new noble fighter Orim, who I've actually gone and added a last name to. And if you've played through Icewind Dale, then you would probably know this as it'd be pretty familiar. His name is Orin Battlehammer, a member of the Battlehammer clan. And today we're going to be going over how to read and kind of keep track of your character sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it up here. This is going to be your typical character sheet. This one I have actually printed out from D&D Beyond, so you can actually print out a PDF version of your character sheet from D&D Beyond. I'm not going to be going over it through the website. I feel like this will be a little bit easier to understand. Also, if you're a beginning player and you wanted to just keep a paper sheet, then this will be a little bit more geared towards you. If you use D&D Beyond, it's not going to be too much different as long as you kind of understand what everything is, and it's in relatively the same place on D&D Beyond as well. So we're going to start up at the top here. Of course, we have our name, we have our class level, class and level. So if you're multi-classed, this is going to be you're going to have a couple of different class names up here with the level in each class. Species, in this case it's dwarf, background, noble, and how you gain your experience points will either be milestone or XP based. We're going to start by taking a look at this section right here. This is going to be this is probably the most important section before your skills, because this is where you keep track of your HP, how difficult it is for you to hit, how quickly you go during combat, things like that. So to start off with, this is where you're going to be keeping track of your hit points, is right here. All right, so you have your max HP, which is the maximum amount of HP that you can have at a given time, depending on your level. You have your current HP, which is how much you currently have, and then temporary hit points are actually things that you can gain in different situations throughout your games. You can gain temporary hit points through different abilities. I believe there's a spell, I think it's called False Life, that'll give you temporary HP, things like that. Down below the hit points here, we have our hit dice. Hit dice are what determine actually how much HP that you'll be given per level, right? Each class is going to have a different hit die, which is determined through the class itself. In this case, it's going to be 1d10 per fighter level. Now, if you multi-class, you're actually going to have different hit die as well. So you'll have, say I multi-classed a fighter with a wizard. I believe the wizard has 1d6 or 1d8 hit die per level. So each time you level up, it'll add one hit die of that class. So if I get the next time I get a level in fighter, I would go from 1d10 to 2d10. And then in most games, you're also going to be taking the max HP that you'd be getting from this. Some DMs will have you roll that d10 to determine how much your max HP goes up. But like in my games, I just go for the max. It's easier, and frankly, I like it more. So in this case, I do have a max 14 HP, so that is above 10, and the reason being because I'll take the max out of the 1d10, so that's 10, plus my constitution modifier here, which I'll go over in a second, plus 3, and then I get another one from a trait called Dwarven Toughness, which also increases my max HP by 1. So that gives me my 14 total. Next to the hit die here, we have death saves. So when you fall unconscious, drop to 0 HP. Every time your turn comes around, then you will roll a d20. If you roll, I believe it's a 10 or below, it's a failure. If you roll above that, then it's a success. 3 successes and you are stabilized. 3 failures and your character is dead. Next to it here, we have armor class. Our armor class is how difficult it is for us to be hit. Now, your armor class can be determined by many different things, from traits to equipment to things like that. I do believe in this case my armor class is 11. If I remember correctly, it's 10 plus your dexterity modifier when you're not wearing any armor. In this case, where did my inventory go? I do have chainmail armor, which I don't have equipped currently, but I can fix that. So that raises my armor class to 16. So while I'm wearing my while I'm wearing the armor itself, then my armor class is going to be 16 in this case. Next, we have initiative. Initiative is the modifier that you would give to the roll you would make at the beginning of combat. Initiative, when you roll initiative, you roll to determine what spot you get in the order of combat per round. So each round is split up into an order of characters. So that's going to be the enemies you're fighting, as well as all of you in the party. So that list is determined by how high you roll, and how high your initiative is will help increase your likelihood of going closer to first each round. The dexterity is what determines this stat specifically. So initiative +1 is because I have a dexterity +1 here. Next, we have defenses. Defenses are your resistances as well as your immunities to different things. In this case, because I'm a dwarf, I have resistance to poison. So anytime anytime I take poison damage or I make a save against being poisoned, then I'll take half damage on any poison damage, and I have advantage against on saving throws against being poisoned. You have heroic inspiration, which is what you are given by the DM whenever you do something cool or character based or so any reason why the DM wants to give you heroic inspiration. Once you get it, then you check this box. If you don't have it, this box should be unchecked. So if you're using pen and paper, don't use a pen and paper. Use pencil. Trust me. Next, we have proficiency bonus. Your proficiency bonus increases based on your level. You start with a +2, and I don't remember what the max is off the top of my head. I want to say it's a +6. But that's what you add to any skills or that you have proficiency in. So say acrobatics here, this P, or if you're using a paper, then this is going to be like a check mark, or you've dotted it in or something similar to like up here. But that whenever you have that box checked, then you have proficiency in that skill. So not only would you add the modifier connected to it, but you would add your proficiency. And then there is your ability save DC. So this would be, say you were a caster, which actually I believe there's also a space down here below to fill in your spellcasting abilities as well. If you have any other reasons to have an ability save DC, this is where you will write those in. And then another really important one is your speed. Your speed is how fast you can move on your turn in a given turn. So you can move up to 30 feet by walking. This will be, you have different types of movement speed in this case, in D&D. And so you have walking, swimming, flying, and I believe there's also burrowing. There might be more as well that I can't remember off the top of my head, but you get the gist. This is how fast you can move. And then next to it here, we have proficiencies and training. So these are all of the armors, weapons, tools, and languages that you have the ability to use without any negative effects necessarily. I mean, unless you're using heavy armor, like in this case, I'm using chainmail, so I actually have disadvantage on stealth checks because it's such a heavy armor, right? But I have proficiencies in heavy, light, medium armor, and shields, so I can wear any of these. I have proficiency in martial and simple weapons, so just about every weapon in the game I can use. If it specifically says you're given proficiency in heavy armor, in light armor, in martial weapons, in navigator's tools, this is where that information is going to be written in your proficiencies and training. Next, we get into the biggest set of block that you'll probably use in the game, and that is right here. All of your stats, okay? So when you're doing anything in the game, when you're rolling your die for any particular reason, this is where you're going to be referencing. Okay, so first off, we have the ability scores. That's these 6 large blocks here on the left of your character sheet. That's strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Once you finish calculating all of your score levels, while you're making your character, this is where the score itself is going to go in the big section of the box. And then with each score comes an ability modifier, which you can find in, I believe, the basic rules and the player's handbook, typically the basic rules. This modifier is the actual number that you're going to be adding to your rolls depending on what skill you're using or what you're doing, right? So these are the big numbers to keep track of and to think about when you're thinking about balancing out your character. Okay, so next we have the skills, which is this big box right here. We're going to go to saving throws next. Next we have skills. So in this case, in this box, this is all of the anything you do in the game. If you want to jump on a table, if you want to stealth around a room, if you want to try and deceive a noble, this is where your modifiers for those roles are going to be found, and each one is based off of a different stat. So acrobatics is a dexterity stat, arcana is an intelligence stat, history is intelligence, insight is wisdom, and the way you determine your modifier here for each skill is by combining the modifier from the ability score that it's set to, as well as adding your proficiency bonus if you are proficient in that skill. So in this case, we're looking at acrobatics. So that is a dexterity-based skill. So I look at my dexterity here. My modifier is a +1. Just because the number is 13, that doesn't necessarily mean anything in this case. This is the modifier. So this +1 is going to be added to any roll that you make for acrobatics. Now it says +3 here because I also am proficient in acrobatics. That's what the P is here. So I would add my +1 here with my +2 from proficiency, and I have my +3. So that's how you read that. Now let's go down to one that I don't have proficiency in. We'll say investigation here. Investigation is an intelligence-based skill. So I go to my intelligence score here, right? The number is 10, but I only have a +0. I'm also not proficient in it, which means I don't add my proficiency modifier. So I only use my intelligence, which means that I have a +0 in intelligence. So any number I roll on the d20 for that is going to be just a flat roll. So next we have saving throws. Saving throws are what you do when you are trying to save yourself against something. Say it's a spell, say you've jumped down a very high ledge, and your DM wants you to make an acrobatics check to see if you can roll through it. Make an acrobatic saving throw. That's where this is going to be. If you're hit with a spell and you need to make a wisdom saving throw, that's where this number is as well. And it's the same idea. If you each number is exactly the same as the modifier in that score, in that ability score block. So strength is a +3, but same thing with the skills, you can have proficiency. So I would take my strength score plus my proficiency score, and that's where this +5 comes from. +3 +2 equals +5. With dexterity, I only have a +1. So without having proficiency, my dexterity saving throw score is only a +1. Down here in this box is where you'll write any additional saving throw modifiers. So in this case, advantage to avoid or end the poison condition. That's what I was talking about with my poison resistances here. So if I make a save against being poisoned for any particular reason, any saving throw, doesn't matter, it's very explicit, I have advantage on avoiding it or ending that condition. Down here is the last section on the first page, which is where you'll write in your attacks and your cantrips if you're a spellcaster, and your senses as well. So passives are used sometimes, used not too often. Most of the time you won't actually know when your DM is using the passives unless they explicitly tell you. but your DM is supposed to know and understand these numbers. And this is also where you'll add any vision modifier or sense modifier. So in this case, because I'm a dwarf, I have dark vision of up to 120 feet, which means that whenever I'm in darkness, complete darkness, instead of being unable to see, I can see, I believe it's in dim light for up to 120 feet around me. If you have tremor sense, that's where that's going to go here. Or any of the other modified senses that you can have. When it comes to reading your weapon attacks, the way that this is read is that you have the name of the attack here. You'll roll to see if you hit, which we'll go over this in another video in a little more detail. So this is going to be the modifier for that roll. You roll for your damage. In this case, because it's an unarmed strike, it's just a flat damage based on your strength. And then any notes that you need for said attack or cantrip. Typically, you'll write the effects of the cantrip in here. Now, we will add a weapon attack here just to kind of fill it in and give you an idea of how to do that yourself. But we'll be doing that a little bit later. For now, we're going to move down to features and traits. Now, this is a big wall of text here because it's already all filled in by D&D Beyond, but this is where you'll write in all of the features and traits that you get from your class, from your species, and from your background, okay? So you'll notice that it's also split up here by D&D Beyond. So fighter features, these are all the features that I have from my fighter class. And as I level up, I will be adding more of these features as I level up from the book. This just makes it easier to reference all of the abilities you have. My species as a dwarf comes with a lot of traits, so this is where you would add all of those traits in. So I'm a humanoid, a medium, speech 30, and what's nice about this is you can fill this in however you want. This is just where all of that stuff comes from. This is where all of that stuff goes to. I'm sorry, not comes from. Then you also have your feats. So as you level up, you also have the ability to take feats. You'll have some to start with, like weapon mastery is an interesting one that you start with now in 2024 with most classes. I believe all of them give you mastery. All of the martial classes at least, or not martial, but the ones that let you use weapons. So that's where all of this is written out. These are the 3 weapons that I chose for my masteries, but you can, like I said, fill this in however you want to. Next, we have inventory. So as you add things to your inventory, take them away. That's where you're going to be keeping this at here. This is where you keep your gold, your money. So you have copper pieces, silver pieces, gold pieces, and platinum pieces. There are conversions for this. If you want, you can actually write the conversions on the side as well. But it's like 100 copper pieces makes a gold piece, 10 silver pieces makes a gold piece, 10 gold pieces make a platinum piece. But this is where you'll keep track of all of that. And just like real money, you can't just, if you have 10 silver pieces, you can't just say, oh, I have a gold piece. You have 10 silver pieces that are worth a gold piece. I mean, I'm sure you could still interchange them as you're giving out money, but unless you go to a bank or your DM allows it, you can't just be like, oh, I have 100 gold pieces. Can I just say I have a gold, or 100 copper pieces? Can I say that I have a gold piece? That's up to the DM. You have your weight down here, your encumbrance. If you want to you can keep track of that by adding up all of your weight here. That's going to be going into your weight carried. This is your maximum amount of weight that you can carry, which is determined by your race, as well as your strength, I believe. And then your push, drag, lift limit. So this is how much you can push, drag, and lift. And then down here, you have attuned magic items. So as you pick up some magic items, they require something called attunement, which typically is like you take a long rest or it takes a day or something to memorize and understand how to use this item properly. And once properly attuned, you'll be able to use its attunement property, which is typically its magical property. This next sheet, your third sheet here, is going to be all of your character details. So character's appearance, allies, organizations, personality traits, flaws, any additional notes, and your backstory can go in here. Most of the time I've seen this whole section filled up actually with the backstory rather than this having like additional notes. Depending on the person, at least, and how intense they want to go with their backstory. And finally, we have spellcasting. So this is where all of your spellcasting stuff is going to go. Your spellcasting class, so that would be if you are a bard, that'll be your spellcasting class for that. Druid, cleric, wizard, warlock, sorcerer. Those are your spellcasting classes. Your spellcasting ability is the modifier that your class determines. So say you are a wizard, your spellcasting ability modifier for that would be your intelligence. So you would put your modifier from your intelligence here, the modifier being the plus number. Spell save DC, determined by the class. I believe it starts at 8. You add the class spellcasting ability modifier plus your proficiency bonus. That's going to go here. The DC is the number that creatures would have to beat on their saving throws when you cast spells against them. Then your spell attack bonus, when you make a spell attack such as Firebolt. These ones don't require saving throws. These ones require you to make an attack roll. So instead of adding, say, strength or dexterity like you would with weapons, you would add your spell attack bonus, which is determined by your spell casting ability modifier here. And down here, you'll fill in all of your spells. It's pretty self-explanatory. Is it prepped? Your spell's name, the source book, the save or attack roll that you'll make for it. This is the time that it takes to use it. So if it's an action, bonus action, reaction, your range for it. So this right here is your components. So whether it takes verbal, somatic, or material costs. This is the amount of time that the spell lasts. This is the page that you'll find the spell on, and this is where you'll fill in any notes such as effects that spell has. You'll also want to keep track of the level of the spell, at least the base level, so that way you know how high of a level you can cast or how low of a level you can cast that spell at. That's pretty much everything for reading your character sheet. The most important page is, of course, going to be this front page for most people. For spellcasters, your second most important page is going to be your spell page. For most everybody else, though, this is going to be your main page that you'll read. Is this first page. This is where you're going to keep track of most everything. This is going to be where most of your penciling in and erasing is going to happen as well as your character goes through. So to finish off the video, I'm going to help you add a weapon attack to this section here, just to kind of help you understand how this works. So in this case, I have a great sword in my inventory, but I don't have it equipped yet, so I want to equip it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in great sword here. Now, the greatsword is a martial weapon, and I have proficiency in martial weapons, as it says up here, right? So that means that whatever the attack roll is, which is to hit, when you roll to hit, that's your attack roll, you will add your proficiency bonus, as well as whatever the stat is that the greatsword is based off of, which in this case is strength. So, given that, I can add, whenever I roll to hit, I will add my strength modifier, which is a +3, and my proficiency bonus, which is a +2. So in this case, I will have a +5 to my roll to hit. Now, the greatsword's damage, it does 2d6 slashing damage. So that's what I would put here on a hit, okay? So you have your roll to hit, you have your roll damage, and if there were any extra notes that I would add here, I would say I would probably add whatever the greatsword's mastery property is there. Or if you're using, say, a dagger, it has the Vex property, or Nick. Yeah, Nick on the dagger, and say you're using a short sword, which has Vex, or I really want to use a glaive at some point, which has Graze. So those are all mastery properties that are explained in the item description. So that is my video on reading your character sheet. I hope that this was insightful and will help you with understanding the new character that you've made. And coming soon in the next few videos, we're going to learn all about dice, what you'll be rolling for, how you'll roll them, how you'll understand your rolls, and then I'll also be making a video of going into combat and how that whole system is works as well. So keep an eye out for those videos, and thank you for joining me once again at my table, and I hope you have a wonderful day.